Hi, we're going to go ahead and get started. This training is being recorded, so if you need to go back and re-watch specific areas. Today, we're going to talk about the Sakai Gradebook. We are going to discuss some of the main points of the gradebook and also touch on the attendance. This training is being presented by the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Online Education. This is our staff. I am Donna Schuler, the Instructional Design Assistant, and I will be hosting this session. Feel free to pull up a course that you are currently working on, and you can work right along with me, and feel free to ask questions as we go. Just like your courses have course and module learning objectives, this session also has learning objectives. We're going to explain the benefits of using the gradebook, how to set up those initial settings and options in the gradebook, how to sync the scores from assignments, discussions, tests, and quizzes automatically to the gradebook so the students will be able to track their grades. We're going to look at how additional tools can be integrated with the Sakai Gradebook, and we're going to show you how to grade more proficient and faster. We're going to identify 2 management tools in Sakai. We are going to start with why you should even use the gradebook. Test and quiz grades will automatically be sent to the gradebook, and the calculations will be automatically completed for you. Students will have real-time access to their grades so they know exactly where they stand in the course. It is also a great data retention tool. This is especially helpful for grade appeals because the data is stored long-term in Sakai, so it is easily accessible. To access the gradebook, select the gradebook from the tool menu on the left-hand side of your screen. Scroll down until you see the gradebook and click on it. Once you click on the gradebook, if it is not set up yet, the gradebook will be blank. Look at the 5 tabs across the top of the screen, starting with Grades, Quick Entry, Import, Export, Permissions, and Settings. We're going to choose the last tab, which is Settings. Under Settings, it has 5 items that can be changed: Grade Entry, Grade Release Rules, Statistics, Categories and Weighting, and Grading Schema. The first item we're going to look at is the Grade Entry option. You have the option to use either points or percentages. Points are the easiest to calculate and the most used type of grading. If your course has an online master template, the gradebook has previously been set up to either use points or percentages. This is where you can see how the course was previously set up. Next is the grade release rules. When the grade is recorded in Sakai by the instructor, you have the option of releasing the gradebook item to the student or holding the gradebook item until after you have graded all of the student's work. Additionally, it allows you to display the final grade. You can check the display final grade to the students. This allows students to see letter grades and percentages. Please note that West Liberty University does not use plus or minus, so please do not change the grading schema settings to reflect this. Sakai allows it, but West Liberty University does not allow that option. The next item is statistics. This is an instructor's preference and does not need to be displayed. There are 2 options that you have. If you want the grade item statistics to be released to the students, go to Statistics and you can allow that to be shown. That will allow the students to see how they compare to other students perform on a particular assignment. Displaying the course grade, you might want to display this if you have a small class size. It would be easy for the students to know which student got which grade in that situation. Now we're going to look at the categories and weighting. The default setting for Sakai is to have no categories. That means that all of the grades will be in one big list. No categories offer a simple grade calculation based strictly on the points or percentages of all of your gradebook items without any groupings, weightings, or dropping of items. Each gradebook item is assigned a simple point value, determined by the student's total score divided by the total points possible. If you're using categories, you are able to group similar gradebook items like quizzes, discussions, and assignments. This option also allows you to drop grades within categories. All items within a category must have the same point value. Then you can choose to drop the highest grade, keep the highest grade, or drop the lowest grade within the category. If you want to drop grades, you should select categories only or categories and weighting. You cannot use no categories to do that process. You can also rearrange the categories by dragging and dropping the gradebook items using the 3 lines on the left-hand side. You can add as many categories as you like, but each category must have a gradebook item assigned to it for it to be shown in the gradebook. Uncategorized items will not be counted towards the final course grade. Categories are used to group gradebook items where items are assigned a simple point or percentage value. Similar to a gradebook with no categories, the course grade is determined by the student's total score divided by the total points possible. This structure provides the option to drop the lowest grade, keep the highest grade, or drop the highest grade within a category. Moving on to categories and weighting. If you are using this category, you need to make sure that the categories are calculated to 100%. For example, your discussions would need to be 20%, assignments 40%, and quizzes 40%. That would equal 100%. Items are grouped into categories where every category is assigned a percentage of the course grade. The total score of all items in a category will comprise the category's percentage of the course grade. This structure provides the option to drop the lowest grade, keep the highest grade, or drop the highest grade within a category. If you are using points with grade release, you cannot use categories and weighting. Points-based grading. This system assigns a specific point value to each assignment or assessment. The final grade is calculated by adding up the total points earned by the student. Categories and weighting. The system groups assignments into categories, quizzes, homework, exams, and assigns a percentage weight to each category. The final grade is calculated based on the weighted average of these categories. To use drop highest, drop lowest, keep highest, all items in that particular category must have the same score value. An example is all tests must be worth 100 points. You cannot have one test worth 50, one test worth 100, and another test worth 150. They must be all worth the same point value. This goes for all categories. All assignments must be worth the same point value, and all discussions must be worth the same point value. You have the option to also give extra credit when using categories or categories and weighting. However, if one category is designated as extra credit, you can have a combined category sum greater than 100%. In a weighted category, extra credit items are averaged together with the other items before the category average is weighted. You have options for formatting the gradebook. The gradebook is formatted horizontal left to right. Individual items or categories can be moved. When you do not have any categories, all of the gradebook items will be random lines spread across the screen, and you will have to scroll back and forth to find a particular grade. You can group your grades. This is why categories are important. The categories are color-coded. You can click the down arrow and show, and they can be categorized in the gradebook. If you go to Edit Item Detail and Categories, this way they are broken up and in a more manageable chunk instead of in just one long line. For assignments, pull up the assignment tool on the left-hand side of the screen. When you are building your assignments, these are the options you have with grading. Scroll down to the grading scale section of the assignment you are working on, and you will have the following options. You can use points, letter grade, pass or fail, and a check mark. Points are listed by default because this is the most common. Remember that you must have a points grade scale chosen in order for the assignment to automatically be added to the gradebook. A check mark can be used if an item is not graded, but if you want to make sure that the task was completed. For example, a course I am building has a bonus question that is optional. The instructor is using a check mark if the student completes the assignment. If there are no categories, you have to manually create an item in the gradebook marked for extra credit. If they are using categories, you can create a category that says extra credit. Next, you need to list the max number of points for the assignment. Then, do you want to use a rubric? You can click on it and choose the rubric for that assignment, or you can even create your own rubric. This will take place of the paper rubrics and can be used across multiple assignments or courses. The rubric will make your grading easier. When the instructor goes to grade the assignment, the rubric pops up and you can click the block of which category the student falls into on the rubric. A total score will be calculated and the instructor can release this to the gradebook. After choosing a rubric, you can preview the rubric to make sure that this is the correct rubric that you want for this particular assignment. If you need help creating rubrics, we have other videos, or you can reach out and one of us will be more than happy to help you. Next, it's important to click Create a new gradebook item. This will automatically create the gradebook item in your gradebook with the same name as your assignment title. You can also associate an existing gradebook item. If you already have a gradebook item created for this assignment, this is the option that you can have to link this to that particular item. For your discussion postings only, you will need to manually create the gradebook item. It is not automatically created for you. The last block is peer assessment. A peer assessment in Sakai allows students to evaluate each other's work as part of the learning process. This feature can be integrated into assignments or forums, and it encourages collaboration and critical thinking. When creating your assignment, click on the peer assessment. Students must submit their assignments before they can complete a peer assessment of other students. The peer assessment does not open until the assignment deadline has passed. Then the student would be able to access each other's assignment to do a peer review, allowing them to attach comments, etc. If the student does not submit the initial assignment, they cannot do the peer assessment either. They will be locked out of both, giving them a 0 on both assignments. An alternate solution to this would be to use the discussion tool, because then the student can do one assignment without doing both, giving them at least partial credit. Turnitin is a plagiarism and AI detection tool. It is already integrated with Sakai. Turnitin is applied to written assignments. It generates a similarity report for the instructor and student to see immediately upon submission. It takes the paper submission and compares it to past submissions and looks for passages that are similar or word for word. It then color codes it and gives you a score. It can also give the instructors an AI score. The students are not able to see that AI score. Turnitin is looking for specific text in the student's assignment and uses an algorithm to determine if it thinks it is AI-generated content. Turnitin claims that it has a 98% accuracy rate, but it also relies on ChatGPT 3 and 3.5 only and has information only until 2021. It may be accurate, but it may not be also. Turnitin is suggesting to instructors to use this score as not a penalty, but as a conversation starter with the student. The more writing turned into Turnitin will give best results. If you turn in 3 to 4 sentences, that is not enough information to get accurate results. To find how new assignments are submitted, you can set up your email to get notifications for student submissions, or you can even receive a daily report. The default is that no notifications will be sent. If you want to see any new submitted assignments, go to that particular assignment and any new submissions will show up under in/new. This is a live counter of submissions. The roster is listed in the first column with the students' names that are clickable. A paperclip icon illustrates there is an attachment. If a rubric is attached to the assignment, you will also see a grid indicating a rubric. The next column is the submission date. This will be marked in red if the assignment was submitted late. The status shows whether the assignment was graded, returned, or if there was no submission. The next column indicates what grade was given to the student. You can grade the assignments as they come in, or you can wait until the assignment closes to grade all of the assignments at once. The last column is released. A check mark indicates that the grade was released to the student. You can resort the categories by clicking on the title of the column, which is indicated in blue lettering. What are your assignment grading options? When you go to grade the assignment, you have several ways you can do this. You can navigate between students, you can select students from the submission list, or you can click on the student's attachment file. When you open a submission, you can access the student's attached file, enter the score, you can leave a comment. If you want to hold all the grades until after you've graded all students, you can save it and release it later. You're also allowed to give resubmissions, including feedback for any particular students. There are two versions of grading: the legacy grading interface, which is the classic version, and the new version, which is the Sakai grader, which is a more modern version that was part of the new upgrade to Sakai. You can use either version, but the Sakai grader is more user-friendly, more advanced options for grading and providing feedback, and it can also support batch grading to save you time. The differences between the two versions: the legacy interface is a more traditional, requiring more manual steps for each part, while the Sakai grader is a more integrated experience. When you see the block with Use Sakai Grader to grade submissions, this is how you can turn the Sakai grader on or off. The legacy requires you to download all of the attachments, whereas the Sakai grader allows inline viewing within the grading area. You can also grade with a rubric. You would click on the grading rubric, click on one item per criteria, provide comments if needed, and click Done. You can also allow for resubmissions for particular students. These are your preferences, whichever version you would like to use. Test and quizzes. How do you send a test or quiz score to the gradebook? If you go to your quiz, you would click on Actions. It'll give you a drop-down menu. You click on Settings. When you click on Settings, go to Grading and Feedback. Make sure that Send Assessment Score to the gradebook immediately on submission is checked. If you are using categories, select the appropriate category from the drop-down menu. Now for discussions. This is a little different than the assignments and the test and quizzes tool. Discussions need to be added manually to the gradebook. Go to your gradebook and click Add Gradebook Item. You would give your discussion a title. You have to give it a point value. Check to see if you're going to use a rubric. If you're using categories, choose the appropriate category. Check Release Item to the student. And it is very important to check Include Item in the course grade calculations, or this will be excluded from the final grade. Once you've done that, click Create, and this item will now show up in your gradebook. How do you grade discussions? Discussions take a little more effort to grade because you are looking at activity across multiple postings. You must first create the gradebook item, which is a placeholder for the discussion score. Then you go to the discussion tool and click on the discussion posting. This allows you to see the discussion thread between the student and anyone they responded to and what was said. Along the top is a grade button. Click Grade. Then you can add the points and feedback and click Submit Grade. If you have a rubric attached, it will bring up the rubric and you can attach comments and a grade, and it will be sent to the gradebook. To share and copy rubrics, here is a video to better understand rubrics. I'm not going to show this video, but it will be shared at the end of the training. It shows you how to use a pre-created rubric or to change it for your usage in your course. Here is another rubric on sharing and copying rubrics. You will get that at the end of the training as well. Manage a Sakai course. If you want to enhance your course with EdTech tools, here is a video using different EdTech tools. This is a Kahoot example that Amanda and Corey created. They have introduced 6 different tools. If you watch the video, if you are interested in using any of these different tools, please contact the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Online Education for assistance. Attendance. Attendance gives you the ability to mark students present, absent, excused, late, left early, and you can leave comments. It can be preset as a category in your gradebook. What is a grade report? You find the grade report in the assignment tool. Across the top, click on Grade Report. It allows you to see all of the assignments submitting by the student or individual assignments, grades, and feedback. If you see the red badge icon, that indicates that Turnitin was used on that particular assignment. The grade report is helpful for advising students to show course progress, if a student suddenly stopped submitting assignments, etc. When and how do I post final grades? When the term is over and you need to finalize all of your grades in this Sakai gradebook, you need to log into WINS. You'll select Faculty Grades Entry, select Final Grades, pick your correct course, and then you will copy each student's final Sakai grade into the WINS column. Make sure that you save your WINS entry. You also have a calendar option in Sakai. It can help to show due dates of when assignments are due or tests and quizzes are scheduled. You can create calendar items like workshops, field experiences. It can help to keep the students on track to know what is due exactly when. If you are interested in learning some advanced Sakai tools, you can contact the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Online Education or visit our professional development located in SharePoint. If you need additional Sakai help or if you would like one-on-one assistance, please submit a Sakai help ticket and one of our staff members will assist you. If you are submitting a help ticket, make sure that you provide a detailed explanation of what you need by including specific information about the issue or request, including course name, assessment details, or any other relevant information. Screenshots are a great way to show us exactly what you need. This will help us resolve your issue as quickly as possible. You can also visit us on the first floor of Main Hall. Thank you for attending today, and I will send out the recorded video and slides for you to reference.